share with you a word that God gave me on suffering. Let me read this. We need to embrace our suffering. We need to embrace that which breaks us. We need to embrace our crosses. We need to carry our cross. We need to love our cross just as Jesus did. And by embracing our cross, we take on the identity of that cross. And where our identity has been smashed in the past by this loss, by this grating sense of suffering that we cannot get away from, by embracing it, that which breaks us becomes us. And out of it comes a sense of victory by the fact that if this suffering cannot break us, nothing can. And it is with this sense of certainty that we are given this gospel. And that is the gospel. In many cases in the first century church, there were situations where there was so much suffering, so much poverty, and so much marginalisation, whether you were a Jew or a Gentile under Roman law. To consider that suffering was that way, that so many people came to faith that way. And by bearing our crosses, like those people in the first century church, those crosses that God has allowed and enabled us to carry, those crosses that God didn't design but has equipped us to carry, these are the very making of us. Without our crosses borne, we cannot be truly Christian. Without our crosses, we make the gospel a fabrication that much other religion may be. Our crosses are the basis of the formation of a new identity that means we can grapple with our reality. We can deal with it one day at a time, with victory, by God's provision, that the world can't possibly understand. People won't understand why we are bearing our crosses so stoically, but we must do it, just as Jesus did, for our own wise benefit. It is with this sense of God being with us, of God making us capable, that we can carry our cross. And we get through, and amazingly, in years to come, we will come to be defined by those very decisions that we have made in the now. Those very decisions to carry our crosses, to bear them. We'll become shaped by the thing that has occurred to us, this suffering. This worst thing that could have happened comes out to be the best thing because of what God makes of it eventually. As we embrace our cross, as we embrace our grief, because really there is no other sane choice than to embrace it. When we take such a distant view of our situation, as if we are looking at ourselves from far away, gazing into our situations, we wouldn't advise ourselves to do anything other than simply just to embrace the suffering and pain in faith that God will see us through. For He will, if we don't give up. And He will do something with it. Not one iota of pain will have gone to waste. We know there are so many times when we feel God won't do anything, when God isn't answering our prayers. And there are so many of those times when we fail, when our faith is weak and it fails us. But remaining in the game is about not giving up, ultimately, though we may give up for an hour or two or a day or longer. So it's up to us. This is our opportunity. When we have been dealt a crippling blow, we take God at His word that He will restore us, because He does. But the key to it all is we must embrace our suffering as we picture Jesus clinging to His cross, embracing it, kissing it even, as we do likewise. Not only would Jesus not give up, but He would be thankful, because He was going to the Father. He was most certainly going to the Father. And that time was very, very close. And for us, as we approach our suffering the same way, we imagine what it will be like to be with the Father also. And we know that embracing our suffering brings us closer to the Father in the very act. Embracing our cross, the crosses we bear. Thank you.